So you are in the market looking to buy your next purchase, a digital audio player, and you have decided to check out the offering from HIBY, and you check out their website. So many DAPs, anything from entry level, mid-range, all the way to the flagship level. And the best part is that if you look closer, they even have this categorization of R or even RS. So what are the differences? R has always been reserved for Delta Sigma type of DAC component, and RS has been reserved for R2R based digital audio player. And in this particular video, I'll be talking about this HIBY R8 Mark II aluminum version, which is their flagship, the highest end Delta Sigma DAP from HIBY.
Yellow 3, climb and maintain 4,000. When approach to pad 6. Caution.
The biggest appeal of this R8 Mark II is that it is the only one right now running on Darwin architecture, which is MPA based Delta Sigma. This is not R2R, this is Delta Sigma Darwin MPA. Some of you might already be familiar with iBasso DX340. DX340 kind of a bit unique as well because it runs on a cascaded array of pulse width modulation, an array of 16 PDM 8E DAC. And this one offers similar kind of DAC configuration. 16-way pulse width modulation MPA Darwin. To be precise, this is an oversampling DAC. And I will share with you why anyone would want to have an oversampling digital audio player like this R8 Mark II. Now let's have a closer look at this HIBY R8 Mark II Aluminum Edition. You would notice that mine comes in all black, but should you wish to have a different color, they also comes in silver or even red. And just for a bit of perspective, this is my mobile phone here, which is Xiaomi Mi 90, and this is my another DAP, which is Fio M21. You can clearly see that HIBY R8 Mark II is bigger, it is also thicker, and it is in fact very similar to iBasso DX340 when it comes to size and dimension. And just have a look at the back here. This is ultra suede, which is velvety to the touch and seems to collect quite a bit of dust, so you just need to be careful with it. And at the side here, you're gonna see this play and pause button in the middle here, and of course forward and reverse, and this is on and off, and also the LED indicator for resolution. This is where you plug in your micro SD. At the top here, nothing much at all, just blank, and at the side here, a very simple affair of volume adjustment up and down. And at the bottom here, this is very interesting because HIBY R8 Mark II comes with dedicated line out option on the right side and phone out option on the left side, both in 3.5mm single-ended and also 4.4mm balance. Just make sure that whenever you plug in your IEM, don't ever plug it directly here because this thing will always run on maximum volume. And this here, USB Type-C, which is premium, it is very sturdy. I am just so very happy. It does not have any kind of wriggle or anything like that. And let's just have a look at the system itself. HIBY R8 Mark II runs on Android 12. Open, bit perfect Android 12, which means that you can literally install anything on top of this or inside this R8 Mark II. You can expect it to always do bit perfect playback. And looking at the configuration itself, just have a look here. It comes equipped with Snapdragon 665, which is pretty much as per expected, and it also has this Darwin MPA, which I will talk a bit more later. Most importantly, it has this a very generous amount of RAM, which is 8 GB, and I am just so very happy. It also offers internal storage of 256 GB, which literally means that I was able to transfer all of my FLAC files or even DSD file locally into this R8 Mark II. And the display itself, now it only comes in 1080p, and this display is in fact LCD. The brightness is not that good because as you can see here, I have already tweaked it to the maximum. Indoors, no problem, but once you are outdoor, you're gonna have a bit of trouble looking at the screen itself. And most importantly, the performance itself. Just have a look here, how snappy this thing is. Just gonna open this HIBY music app. See that? Very fast. And of course, if you're familiar with HIBY music app, this is the normal affair. This is the player which I use all the time to do any kind of playback for local FLAC files or even DSD files. And of course, I have my Tidal here, which is the streaming platform which I use all the time. As you can see here, it is also very snappy. The interface itself, the speed, because it runs on Wi-Fi 5.0, which is definitely the one that you want to use. One of the biggest appeal of any digital audio player from HIBY is that it offers some of the best and the richest feature when it comes to audio control. Let me just quickly show you this, okay? Here, you can easily go to audio settings, and as you can see here, you have so many options. The most important one being this MSEB, which is unique to HIBY. You can literally change the temperament of the sound itself as how you wish it. And of course, it comes with this advanced parametric equalizer. Again, pretty much very similar to many other digital audio player from HIBY, if you're familiar with it. Controls for DSD, channel balance, max volume, you name it, everything that you can think of. And of course, it comes with this amplification class A or class AB, which I will talk a bit more after this. And you also have this turbo mode. Turbo mode, by the way, will impart extra final 25% of available power for this R8 Mark II. And of course, you have this 3 level of gain, which is very useful. And last but not least, it also have these plugins. Despite being quite hefty with the build and the weight itself, which is at around 430 gram, it is in fact 100 gram lighter than HIBY X340. R8 Mark II is actually still quite portable. You probably need a bag like this, like what I'm doing right now, to carry it around. And the best part is that it also comes with this very nice looking protective case, which is also clad in Alcantara. Let's talk about the battery endurance. Running in Class A amplification with turbo mode on, driving 4.4mm balanced magnetic planar, like what I'm doing right now, I was able to get at around maximum of 13 hours, which is quite impressive because you have to remember Class A amplification drains the battery quite a lot. If you need better endurance, obviously you can switch to Class AB and turn off the turbo mode and run on low gain, especially if you're driving IEM. And I am happy to say that I was able to get at around 21 hours, which is crazily impressive. And then, of course, being a portable device, how does it manage heat, especially considering that this is a Class A? The maximum temperature which I have seen so far does not exceed 37°C. And one more thing, 12,000 mAh of battery. I repeat, 12,000 mAh of battery. The biggest battery I have seen yet in any digital audio player. This thing will take at least 5 hours to fully charge to 100% using quick charger. Despite being classified as a reference grade flagship digital audio player, R8 Mark II surprisingly is not that very powerful. From the 4.4mm balance running in Class A amplification in high gain in turbo mode, at best you're just gonna get 710 mW of power, which is in comparison, if I were to compare with something like HIBY X340, a direct competition to this R8 Mark II, that the X340 would be able to run at least 1000 mW of power, and it can go even higher if you attach it into desktop mode. Even the Kain N6 Mark III would offer you in excess of around 900 mW of power. So I'm just gonna simply say that power is not the focus for this digital audio player. But at least with that kind of power, which is 710 mW, it is definitely more than enough to run many type of headphone or IEM, which is under 150 ohm. For example, I am using my CJ20 here, which is a magnetic planar. This is the kind of IEM which will appreciate that kind of power. Anything above 500 mW, this magnetic planar IEM will be able to run at 100%. But if your intention is to drive something like 300 ohm of Sennheiser HD600 or even full-size magnetic planar, then this is not exactly suitable for those kind of demanding headphones. So HIBY R8 Mark II It's not exactly built for power, outright power, driving directly, headphones like this Sennheiser HD600 or even that magnetic planar over there. But you want to know what? It is a perfect source to be stacked together with external amplifier. One of the best lineup which I have used so far. 10K of impedance, 4 VRMS for the 4.4 balance, to my Aune N7 here, which is 6,500 milliwatt of power, by the way. And I was just simply mind blown with the kind of sound, with the kind of performance, with the kind of sound stage which I'm getting from the combination of this and this Aune N7. This is one of the biggest appeal for this R8 Mark II. I'm just going to be very blunt and very straightforward. Honestly, if you are looking to just do streaming services, streaming audio playback from something like Tidal or even Apple Music or so many other streaming services available now, then perhaps the idea of getting such an advanced player like this, HIBY R8 Mark II, would be an overkill. An overkill because, I'm just going to simply say this, you would already be able to get maximum sound and performance and quality if you were to use something like HIBY R4, because those digital audio player would be fully capable of rendering 768 kHz 32-bit kind of PCM resolution. And the keyword here is PCM resolution. However, if you have a situation like this, highly resolving listening devices like this, FIO FX17, or even this FIO FA19, or even this BGVP Solomon, or even T-Audio Monarch Mark IV, highly resolving IM, and you also have in your collection very high resolution DSD files, especially DSD 5121-bit, then it is definitely very feasible, suitable to get an advanced player like this, HIBY R8 Mark II. Because remember, I mentioned earlier, HIBY R8 Mark II is an oversampling digital audio player, which means that it is fully capable of doing 128 times oversampling using the Darwin MPA. See, this is unique to this R8 Mark II. So you can see there are just so many low-pass anti-aliasing filter. I especially love the Darwin Ultra here because it gives the kind of sound which I would consider as wholesome. And of course, we have something like this DSD filter. Now, R8 Mark II will offer the widest, the most airy and open sound if we were to use the Darwin default. But if you need something which is a bit more tactile sounding, something which is a bit more solid at the expense of the airiness, then you switch to Darwin 1. That is at least my experience. But you would only be able to experience this if you are doing native DSD audio playback or just DSD audio playback. Harmonic controller. This seems to be quite applicable to just DSD audio playback. Pull the slider here all the way to this 256. The biggest difference that I'm hearing is that the sound would be a lot more colored, some sort of boosting. It sounds very rich, very dense, but I prefer to put it that way, all the way down here, or at least somewhere in the middle, to retain some of that transparency and neutrality. And of course, you have this customized preset, which I wasn't able to try because unfortunately, I don't have any of those IM listed here. Perhaps HIBY would consider adding some of the IM into this preset. This R8 Mark II, without a doubt, the widest and the most open sounding digital audio player which I have the pleasure to try so far, alongside Ibasso DX340. I must admit that one of the biggest factor for people to love Ibasso DX340 was the wide open soundstage. The main difference between Ibasso DX340 and this is that this is a bit more airy. It is a bit more spacious with the sense of space, and it is definitely a bit more holographic. Both of them are already very wide and open sounding. No other digital audio player which I have tried so far can even compete with the kind of soundstage offered by this HIBY R8 Mark II. Because if you were to look at the tagline for this R8 Mark II, it is designated as mobile concert hall. And exactly that is what this thing is capable of delivering. And when it comes to general technicalities, of course, being a flagship, you can expect the best kind of resolution, imaging, layering, separation, and everything. One of the very best technicalities when it comes to resolution, imaging, details, you name it. However, while doing all that, the biggest question now is that how does it sound like when it comes to tonality and timbre? Being highly technical, being highly detailed, being highly transparent, the good thing about this HIBY R8 Mark II is that it does not sacrifice on the element of musicality, which means that I am not hearing anything which I would consider as being overly sharp, edgy, or even spicy, or even sibilant. This thing sounded very analog. On top of being a stellar, flagship grade, reference digital audio player, HIBY R8 Mark II is also an excellent stellar option if you want to use it as a dedicated full-time DAC attached to your PC, your laptop, your MacBook, you name it, or even your phone, because you can easily stack this with your amplifier and enjoy the goodness of 128x Darwin MPA kind of resolution. And you might also notice that I did not mention that too much about the Bluetooth capability of this R8 Mark II because I don't think Bluetooth is the focus for this device. Bluetooth is not the reason why you want to have this, because you can easily get better Bluetooth performance from phones like this my Xiaomi 15, because you are not pushing for maximum resolution. But if you are doing local audio playback, maximum resolution, then this is what you want. To wrap things up, just remember the three key elements which I have mentioned earlier. Why anybody would want to invest such a huge amount of money getting this HIBY R8 Mark II Aluminium Edition or even Steel Edition? Reason number one, this is the best oversampling digital audio player in the market now, capable of doing 128x Darwin-inspired Darwin MPA oversampling for the kind of resolution which is out of this world. And secondly, this one offers the widest, the most airy soundstage I have heard yet coming from a digital audio player. And number three, it has the best balance when it comes to technicalities and musicality. I absolutely love using this HIBY R8 Mark II. Thank you so very much for watching the video until the end. Without skipping, I hope. Now click like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram under the name of AndyAV. And also, if you'd like to support me directly, you can join the membership below for behind the scene, especially for AAV Insider and above, which will allow you to see what I am doing behind the scene.